super honored to receive these scores. Hopefully it's not too late to hang a couple more gold for the Olympic Games here with Argentina and Chile for us. So really great to see this sparkling wine that we have out of Argentina, like Sid alluded to. This is much different than what you're seeing production-wise coming out of Argentina. Don Rodolfo is a really fun sub-label that we import, and we have a little bit of a partnership between both sides of the Andes Mountains here. This specifically coming out of Luan de Cayo, kind of overseeing the production by Mikel Velasco here. The blend here is actually 50% Chenin Blanc and 50% Trebbiano. It's made in Charmant method. So this is just an amazing, very lovely tropical fruit, very lively as well. It bodes extremely well across the board, as you know, drinking it by the glass is absolutely delicious. It does very well with a little bit of juice too for brunches, and you know, it's versatile enough to make a French 75 with if you're into making cocktails too. So this is a really great wine here. It is vegan certified as well, and we're certified green practice coming out of here with our Don Rodolfo label. So the labeling itself was actually drawn up by a local artist in Mendoza, and what this is really all about the art, the passion, the culture of South America. Like I was saying, we play on the 35-degree latitude line. So half of the production is actually made out of in Chile from Chilean fruit. And then the other half here with the sparkling series, our Malbec, Cabernet, and Tannat, we produce out of Argentina. So a really lovely wine here for the summer months here as we're hitting the heat waves out there across the country. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next, Sid, and we'll talk a bit about Cabernet Corp and our Chilean gold winner here, which is the Axel Carmenere 2022. You know, if you do not know, and I believe the world should know the story of the history of Carmenere, whether it be the trade, consumers, the retailers, and really knowing that this grape was deeply rooted in the Medoc for many years in France, many hundreds of years ago, and then the 1700s was really brought into Bordeaux and was one of the six nobles. And then the 1840s, 1850s really transported into Chile, where it thrived. But back in the late 1800s, we didn't have beautifully manicured rows as we have now, and the labeling system that we have in technology, right? Carmenere thrived, but it was scattered amongst the other Bordeaux varietals, and was kind of lost in the mix because, you know, 1860s comes along and Phylloxera wipes out the majority of the vineyards in France. And when they go to replant Bordeaux, really Cabernet and Merlot were the top plantings, right? Carmenere in Bordeaux was a little susceptible to mildew. It was really not yielding enough fruit for them. And they thought it as extinct, right? Until 1994. So over 100 years of mislabeling this wine. Jean-Marc Biscot really discovers in Carmen's vineyard in the Maipo, walking the vineyards here, what they deemed as Merlot, really the twisted stamens of the vines here, and saying that's, you know, we have Carmenere here, and DNA testing proved that to be true, and really one of the biggest discoveries in the wine world in the last few decades, right? And you know, this is where we bring this grape to Chile. Is to Chile is what Cabernet is to Napa Valley. You know, this wine and this varietal in particular is light enough for Pinot Noir drinkers. It's complex and has enough fruit for Cabernet drinkers. It's really fun. It's not esoteric and something that, you know, can be turned off by consumers either. So a little bit about us and how we came about Cabernet Corp as an importer, and where the Axel brand stems from here is Soren Axelson. This is paying living tribute to him. He's our founder of Cabernet Corp, which the company was founded in 1980 originally. But Soren in the 50s and 60s was a big traveler. He traveled all over the world and found himself in the late 50s, early 60s in Chile, and really seeing the potential down there. At the time, Soren was living in Copenhagen, Denmark, built up a large beer brand, Tuborg Beer, and sold it off to Carlsberg. and then immigrated to the United States and started a vineyard in Monterey, and would venture back and forth down to Chile, selling some bulk wine from the United States back to Northern Europe. And then really in '88 is when he solidified a partnership down in Chile with the Sutil family, to launch Vina La Playa. So this wine here is made at our winery Vina La Playa down in the Colchagua Valley, about 2.5 hours south of Santiago. Things to really boast about us is, we were the first winery down in Chile to be vegan certified. So we are using pea protein as our finding agent there. And we were one of the early certifications for sustainability of growing down there as well. We keep that sustainability factor really full cycle down in Colchagua Valley, whether it be employing locals year round, donating to the local infrastructure and schools. Then we also work with 1% for the planet with Vina La Playa. So we are cleaning up the waterway systems with the Nauco Foundation, Punta de Lobos Foundation, and Capital Azul down in Colchagua Valley here. 2022 was a really great year for Carmenere. We did not see a ton of rain this year, which actually boded well for Carmenere, right? A little bit more susceptible to mold here. The Colchagua Valley has this beautiful Mediterranean climate, more sand and loam on the western side, and then more granitic and volcanic, the more east you flow, closer to the Andes Mountains here. All that snowmelt really being provided here for our irrigation as well. This year, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year because they're getting hit with historic snowfalls in the Andes right now. It's been a lot, many feet of snow being dumped into Chile right now. So we'll see. The drought issue will probably go well here for us in the north, which will be great to see here. But yeah, that is basically, this is a wine too, our labeling stylistically, I think very classic. It's eye-catching on a shelf. This goes extremely well on restaurant menus where we are primarily focused in the on-premise sector here with this brand. We are distributed through over 40 states throughout the country. And that is the best route to go is, you guys can email me questions directly if you have any, brandon@cabernetcorp.com, and I'll get back and connect you with the correct distributor throughout the country. But yeah, as you guys can kind of see the tasting notes on this, it definitely has that cacao on the nose, green bell pepper, which is always super indicative of Carmenere, right? But what I love about it is the red fruits that shine through. You get this bit of these chewy tannins that come in as well, and a very savory finish. Overall, extremely well balanced, and this great acid profile that shows up as well here.